I'm Michael Fox, and this is the Prospector News podcast. And I have joining me, I have the CEO of Bactech Environmental, Ross Orr. Welcome aboard again, Ross.
Good to talk to you, Michael.
Always a pleasure. We got to see each other a little bit in New York in early part of May, but man, you've been a busy boy since then, haven't you?
Yeah, well, as we get closer and closer to the goal line, of course, everything starts to, amplify and speed up. So yeah, it's been it's been very busy.
These are all good things, but the best thing is what's come back to from the Moody's bond rating about your green bond certification process. What can you tell us about that?
Well, we basically got a score of about 8 out of 10. And there were a couple of reasons why we didn't get 10 out of 10, but there are issues that are sort of out of our hands, like the fact that the hydropower, I guess, has some sort of a carbon offset above the normal level. But still, it came in and classified as very good. And it also came back with a social bond component to it, which is in addition to the green bond component. So it makes the potential market that much bigger for, when we go to to raise the $20 million. So it was a real surprise, but a nice surprise.
Fantastic. So now that you have this certification, what does it mean for the green bond process itself?
Well, I met with our investment banker in Analytica last Friday in Ecuador when I was there, and it's now time to, the rubber hits the road. We are in the middle of the consultation down there right now, and I discussed the update with the Minister of the Environment. I was on a panel on Friday night and we had a chance to speak afterwards. And he said it was under his understanding that things were going quite well. And I said, yes, I think the people that are doing it down there are actually having a fun time because nobody's yelling at them. Usually when you're doing a consultation, people show up to air their beefs and why they don't want the project in their backyard. Here they say, where do I sign up for a job? So it's going very well. I mean, I couldn't have asked it. I'm thinking probably mid to late August we'll get our final permit, which is great. We're off to the races.
That's fantastic news. And then how long for the green bonds likely for them to close so that the money's in the bank and the plant can be built?
That's hard to say. I really don't know that, Michael. I'd hate to speculate, but I would hope that it's one buyer. That would be nice. So if I had to toss it out, I would say hopefully sometime in September. But again, I'm guessing.
That's what I love about you. You're always the cockeyed optimist. It's never just one buyer, though. While you were down in Ecuador, you had an opportunity to meet with the two mayors in your backyard, the mayor of Ponce Enriquez and the mayor of Tenguel, and you had some pretty productive meetings, I understand.
Yeah, the mayor of Ponce was a half an hour that turned into an hour and a half. He's a lawyer and he's a miner like everybody else in Ponce Enriquez. First thing he said was, "How do we get you to move the plant here?" I said, "We're not doing that. That's like turning around the Titanic in a small harbor." He then said at the very end, he said, "I want to be your first customer," which was kind of fun because, as I said, he is a miner. And he's asked us to come back on the 25th to present to their annual meeting for all the mines in that area. There's over 100 mines. So I guess going back to the association. So I would say that he's quite positive, obviously. And then I switched over to Tenguel and I met the new mayor there who actually did her PhD in Vancouver. So the English was very good, which helped. And again, sitting outside of her office were the people from the Minister of the Environment at a table, and their job is to sit there all day and just basically answer questions for people as they come up. And they said, it's been a pleasure to do it. When you're not digging a hole in the ground, people look at you a little bit differently, I think, fortunately.
Yeah, that's generally, this is a processing project rather than it being an actual mining project. All the artisanal miners are already basically there, so this is a way for them to make money and keep that money back in the communities. Can you tell me about the impacts on the community? This is going to be very positive for the region. Can you elaborate more on what it's going to mean for the people in those communities?
Well, I mean, obviously, money is probably the first, the highest aspect you're going to look at. You know, we're going to be paying a base salary of $12,000 US, which is probably 3 times what these people are making now. You know, picking cocoa leaves. But when you throw in the employee bonus pool, which is something the government has set up, where you pay 15% of your profit into the pool, keeping in mind we're not taxable technically for 12 years, these people are going to make a lot more money, probably, you know, based on the lower end, probably an extra $30,000 on an annual basis. So that is something that we are happy about, but at the same time, we also recognize that, you know, dropping a big chunk of money into people's laps is not necessarily always a good thing. So it's kind of incumbent on us to make sure that we provide some sort of financial literacy, you know, for planning for their kids to go to university or building a house or whatever it is.
Yeah, definitely. For people in North America, $30,000 doesn't sound like a whole lot of money. Explain what that means to people in that region on a comparison basis.
Well, it's a very poor area. There's no question. I mean, these little communities that are sort of surrounding where our property is are small. I mean, they're literally 3, 4, 5 houses, and you wouldn't want to live there. I mean, maybe we shouldn't say that. Suffice it to say that people are going to be a lot better off financially than they are now. And because I said, it's a very, very economically depressed area. It's cocoa farming. I mean, it's, you know, it's not a great place to make a living, I would imagine. By the way, we did drop in on the property. We were there, and the guys were hard at work doing the harvest. If you recall, we let them stay, you know, keep the plants alive, do the harvest, and keep the proceeds of the sale. And it was quite something to see. I always thought those big red pods were what they sold to the market. They actually cut them open and put them through some sort of a press, and it looks like a white jello by the time it's done. That's just an aside. I thought it was kind of interesting, but they're happy. And I think that they were in my Sunday morning coffee that I sent out yesterday. There was a picture of them. They're all sort of with their thumbs up. So they know they're going to be employed by the company at some point in time in the future as well.
Yeah, that's again another win-win for those in the area. So as this progresses and rolls out, I look forward to hearing more and more reports from Ecuador and the progress that's being made. Thank you very much for joining me today, and I look forward to seeing this reach its completion and a plant being built.
Me too. Amen to that.
Thanks very much, Ross.
Hey, Michael, cheers.
Bactech Environmental Corp is a paid sponsor of the Prospector News. The host owns shares, warrants, and royalties bought at the market for investment purposes. The Prospector News podcast is for educational purposes only. The opinions expressed are those of the participants and are not to be taken as investment advice. Listeners need to do their own due diligence and seek advice of a licensed investment advisor.